Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for the intro, Jabel. I'm here today to quickly share with you a long overdue enhancement to the system. But before that, I'll quickly share with you the purpose of this enhancement. First and foremost, if you all remember, when we first implemented my HR within your company, we created or we introduced a concept of the payroll calendar that is built into the software. Normally, for most clients, a payroll calendar is a manual calendar that you track. It's probably on your desk or in an Excel file somewhere. But in our case, in my HR, we built a payroll calendar into the system. Now, the payroll calendar, the objective of that is to eliminate the need for the operator, for the user, to trigger system events, such as triggering a timekeeping run, triggering a payroll run, triggering certain reports, and so on and so forth. We realized that since payroll is a repeated activity, it happens at least 24 times throughout the year, a lot of these repeat actions were designed such that it will run on its own, hence the payroll calendar. So an example of this is the daily timekeeping that we do. From the first day of the cutoff to the last day of the cutoff, we do a daily timekeeping run at around 2 a.m. in the morning with the intention to allow your employees, for example, to immediately view their attendance the next day. Okay. Now, this payroll calendar has been in place since we implemented the system for you. But what we failed to implement is a facility for you to actually edit the calendar in case that you have to move certain cutoffs, or you have to move or move a cutoff, move a system activity earlier or move a system activity later. For example, this coming Holy Week, it probably threw a monkey wrench in all our payroll activities. So some of you might want to finish earlier, or some of you might want to finish later. So now this edit facility that we are introducing will allow you to do that modification without contacting our help desk. Next page, please. So just to take a few steps back to give you a quick history of the basis for the design of the payroll calendar, especially for those who were not there when we implemented the system for your company. So you might be familiar with the Excel file that we are showing on screen. This is a manually prepared file or manually encoded file that we share with you at the end of each year, in order that the system can be initialized or prepared for the new payroll year. So this Excel file, I believe has to be filled up, manually with a lot of work, a lot of effort, and potentially a lot of errors as well. All right. So this payroll calendar file contains the pay date, the start and end of cutoff, certain dates when the deadlines, for example, for forms filing, initial payroll run, and final payroll run. So these are the dates that we request from your company every year. And this file would contain at least 24 lines that we then manually upload into the server, into our system. Now, moving forward, starting 2024, which is next year, we will now automatically generate this file for you. We will not ask you to prepare this file manually anymore. Neither would we upload this manually. No? So this will now be a system process. However, we do recognize that not all customers have the same cutoffs or the same deadlines. You may have the same cutoff, for example, 1 to 15, but you might not have the same filing cutoff or approval cutoff or final processing cutoff or pay date viewing cutoff. So given that, we will generate a standard or generic calendar for each one of us, for all of you, and then after which you are then given a facility to modify the calendar at will. And what can you modify? Next page, please. So if you drill down to this Excel file, there are certain dates that can be modified. There are dates that cannot be modified. For example, the pay dates, those are all fixed. Attendance and payroll cutoffs, they are all fixed. Okay, but what we can modify is the no, go back to the previous page, please. Sorry. Okay, one more. Okay, wait for my cue. All right, so an example of what you can modify is the last two columns, which is the PAN notice or personal action notice cutoff date. So sometimes you want to push the cutoff to a different date. so that to accommodate more forms that were encoded late, for example. Another date that you can modify is a suspension of forms filing and approval. It might fall on a Saturday and you might wish to move it to a Monday, for example. Or Monday may be a holiday, for example, after the Holy Week, that Monday is a holiday, you might want to push it to a Tuesday. So historically, you have asked us to do this for you, but we have not been able to respond quickly sometimes. So we felt that we'll provide you an extra avenue to modify this date on your own. All right, next page. All right, so these are some of the other columns in the payroll calendar that you can also modify. Some of them are automatic in the system. It will run on its own. So we'll give you more details after this webinar. Next, please. Okay, so more fields. Yep, next page. Okay, now this is an illustration of a normal payroll cutoff. No? So in this example, it's 16 to 31st. So represented by the white numbers in the black boxes. And then you have, in this example, 7 days to process payroll from the 1st of February to the 6th with a payout on the 7th. Now, in this payroll calendar, you would notice certain comments or certain dates that are related to our processing activity. For example, on the 1st of February, there's a final timekeeping run. And at midnight, after midnight, and at 3 a.m. an initial compute payroll run. The idea that we run this after midnight is that on the morning of February 1st, on a Tuesday, when you report to work, the system is already ready to provide you with the payroll summaries for you to audit. And there are other activities that allows you to do a second run, a final run, posting of loan, and so on and so forth. So these are predefined system activities in the system, mixed with some manual activities that you need to do, such as generating reports and doing audits. All right. So this is a normal calendar. Of course, you might all have different dates and different cutoffs, or some of you might have 5 days for payroll. Some of you have 10 days, some of you have 15 days, for example. But these are the standard steps that are designed in the system. And these are steps that we all go through using the MyHR system. Okay, next page. So what we did is, from this standard facing and standard set of activities, next page, we now distilled it into sub-phases, or what we call currently, internally, technically, Group 0, Group 1, Group 2 activities. But we will launch a new payroll dashboard to aid your current payroll processor or future payroll processor on what are the steps to complete payroll using the MyHR system from step 1 to step 1000. All right. So all these steps from start to finish are grouped into subgroups or sub-phases. And these include the daily timekeeping run, which is Group 1. It is an internal code name. We'll finalize that. And there's a Group 2, for example, and a run payroll, a Group 3, and a Group 4. All right. So this is the payroll dashboard that we will soon release to aid you in all the individual steps to start and finish the entire payroll cycle. All right. Now, this timeline, as I call it, is subdivided into blue-colored and orange-colored activities. Blue-colored activities are system activities. They run automatically. And the blue-colored ones is based on the calendar that you provide us. The orange activities are manual activities. For example, can you scroll back to Group 4, for example, or Group 3? One more, Group 3. Okay, Group 2. Let's do Group 2. So to illustrate, Group 2 is what we call the finalization of timekeeping and the initial audit of payroll. So Group 2 is where the suspension of the form cutoff is, seen in the first line, and the suspension and the processing of all leave availments. So this first few lines of Group 2 is where the timekeeping phase is closed and finalized. So once the timekeeping is closed and finalized, you'll see in the bottom, towards the lower third, there's a post-TK and a finalization of TK3 activities. So these are system activities. We will improve how it's labeled at the moment, but internally that's what it's called. So after the system finalizes timekeeping, it then does an initial compute payroll run. So as you notice, beside the blue dots, blue circles, there are dates and times when these system activities will execute or will run. All right. Now, after the compute payroll run is completed, which is targeted on April 5, Wednesday, can you make the text larger, please? Can you zoom the screen, please? Thank you. All right. More, please. Okay, there you go. Thank you. All right. So compute or the first compute payroll run or the first payroll run will happen on April 5, Wednesday at 9 a.m., for example. So this will run automatically on its own. After that, we have provided a guide to help your payroll processors new to the system, for example, what are the next steps to do? So these are the orange colored activities. So you will do audit payroll, you would do encoding, checking of the PAN transactions, payroll transactions, and so on and so forth, okay? So from the payroll calendar we showed you earlier, from the payroll calendar file that you fill up earlier, to the payroll calendar guide in Excel that we showed you, illustrated, we are now combining this information into this payroll dashboard for you to follow a timeline in terms of processing payroll from step 1 to step 50. Now, what we have added to this payroll dashboard is a facility to modify the dates of the system activities. And the system activities are those in blue circles. Okay, for example, group 3, close payroll. It's currently scheduled to run on April 5, Wednesday, 9 p.m. However, you may decide to close payroll earlier, sooner, perhaps on April 4 in the afternoon at 6 p.m. Or perhaps you might want to push it one day later to April 6. So historically, you have asked us to edit this for you. However, with the system enhancement, you can now edit this date and time directly on your own. However, in order to make this editing easy, we group certain activities together. And that's why close payroll is called group 3. It is composed of multiple steps in the system. However, when you edit, the entire group is moved all together at the same time, just by modifying the first line. For example, if you modify compute payroll from Wednesday 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., the system will automatically push everything forward. All 4 lines will move forward. Okay, so hence we have to introduce this concept to you because we have to explain to you how we kind of modify the system. So again, there may be 50, 100 steps to complete payroll in a system. A lot of these are automated activities, so you pretty much let the system do its work for you. But there are certain groups of activities like closing of payroll or posting of payroll that you might want to change the date, and we allow you to change a date for you. Okay, so next page. All right, so again, the payroll dashboard, and then the concept of the dates and the concept of the groups, and you modify the group in order to move the entire group forward or backward. Now, the reason we did this is because one, preparing that Excel file is laborious. Okay? It takes a lot of time and allows a lot of errors to happen. Okay, and number 2, we now allow you to modify these dates independently or on your own. All right, no, you don't have dependence on Titanium anymore. But of course, if you prefer us to edit for you, our help desk is on standby as well to do the editing. But by and large, once these features rolled out, you can edit anytime. Okay, next please. All right, go. Yeah. All right. So having said that, having given you an intro and a background on why we did this feature, I'll sum it up first. So the entire Titanium HR system is built around a automated payroll calendar. My design objective was to automate all repeating all routine activities in the system, like triggering a timekeeping run, triggering a payroll run, triggering the generation of a payroll register, for example. So these are all routine activities. So in order to give you convenience, we decided to calendar these activities in the system so that it runs on its own. However, having done that, we were not able to provide you with an editing facility. So this editing facility is now ready. And I will turn over the mic to Jobel to continue and to show you how to do the actual edit. Thank you.